welcome back to another episode of On the Mic. We have another great episode lined up for today, but first, today's episode is brought to you by Normandy Fishing Guide Service, making dreams come true one cast at a time. For booking information, call or text me at 863-260-3474 or go to my website at normandyfishing.net. And YOLO Tech. Always be recording with YOLO Tech. Check them out at www.yolotech.com. That's right, we have another great episode lined up for today. Joining us on the mic is Bassmaster Elite Series Pro. Matt Arey is going to be joining us. So guys, we're going to jump right in to this week's episode of On the Mic. All right, we are on the mic with Bassmaster Elite Series Pro Matt Arey. What is going on, Matt? How you doing today, brother?
Norman, I'm good, man. I hope you are.
Yeah, very well, man. Very well. You know, one of the drawbacks of being a professional angler is that you are away from home a lot during the season. During your off season, man, how important is it to spend a lot of time with the family? You got a couple young girls, but what's the Arey household like during the off season for you?
Well, it's I've got two girls, like you said, ages 12 and 8, and it's wide open to say the least. And it's funny because I can kind of tell you our daily schedule, our routine. I have to have a shared calendar with my wife to make sure I know exactly when all the girls' activities are and at what times. Because right now we have between the two girls, I think my oldest is doing cheer, tap, ballet, point, jazz, and now she's actually going to she auditioned for the Nutcracker, which is a big performance that the Charlotte Ballet does, and she ended up getting a part in it, so we're going to have practices every weekend between now and basically Christmas for that. And then my youngest is 8. She's just now kind of getting involved in all the activities also, and she's doing hip hop and jazz, and it's constant, but it's fun. I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, it's a crazy life, not just being on the road as a professional bass fisherman, but being at home with the girls is the number one priority. And I'm never gonna, as long as we're able to support them, I'm never gonna deny them an opportunity to chase whatever they love. And that's kind of how I got to where I am today. So I want them to be able to have the same opportunities and be able to do stuff that they enjoy growing up. So
that's awesome, man. Now, do you play Mr. Mom like in the mornings when the girls are getting ready to go to school? Do you get up, make breakfast, take them to school, get in the drop off line?
Yeah. That's actually, it's funny because I'm actually headed to pick up my youngest right now. She doesn't get out until 2:50, but I got to make one other stop before I get her, and then so I'll take her home and get her homework done, and then my wife will be home around 4:15 from her work, and then I'll leave and go pick up my oldest from cheer at 5, and then I'll take her to, what's today, Monday, so I'll take her to jazz and ballet back to back after that.
Right.
So we'll go from cheer to jazz to ballet, and then back home about 7:30 to 9. So in the morning, I take them to school, which I enjoy that.
Yeah.
Both. They're at two different schools now, but we have to leave fairly early in the morning to make sure they both get there on time. And my oldest is pretty independent; she gets herself ready, but my youngest still kind of relies on us to help drive her out of bed. One of them pops up, and she's a morning person, kind of like me, and then my youngest and my wife are not very much morning people, so they need a little motivation in the mornings to get going.
Yeah, man, there you go. What hobbies do you really get into during the off season?
I love to deer hunt. I don't fish much during the off season just because I'm kind of one of those guys that needs a little bit of a release in order to get fired up for the new season. I do dabble on the water some, don't get me wrong, but I don't. Some of our guys fish 3 or 4 or 5 days a week during off season. Maybe that's part of my problem. I love to deer hunt, love to bow hunt. I do a little bit of deer hunting in off season, and then I actually started playing pickleball a couple years ago. I actually love it, man. People can say what they want, but it's addictive. Right.
Now, is your daughter still too young to really, start getting into the hunting scene as well, or Now, how about the fishing? Also, is your daughters really getting where they want to go fishing with you and pick up rods and reels and start trying to kind of see what you do and as far as the fishing end of it with the girls?
Yeah, my oldest is just turned 13, and she's kind of that too cool for school age now. She's middle school. She's not. She's kind of like our girly girl, which is great. She's into the ballet and the dance and the cheer and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And then my youngest, she's the one that actually does hip hop for her dance, but she's more of a little tomboy, and now she loves to go deer hunting. She loves to turkey hunt. She loves to fish. She's a little bit more of the outdoorsy type.
Right.
I'm gonna have to keep an eye on her because I've taken her hunting. She's only 8. She's real small. She's still just a little thing. She barely weighs 50 pounds, but she is still not of age where she can really handle like a deer rifle
Yeah.
for herself. But she's been with me several times, and I've got to watch her because we'll sit in a box stand or something together on the power line behind the house there or whatever, and we'll have some deer come out. And she wants the first one that comes out to get shot, and that's I mean so I'm trying to teach. I'm having to talk that one off the ledge a little bit when we're in the deer woods, and heaven forbid when I turn her loose with her own deer rifle one day, the deer better hide because I don't think any of them going to stand a chance. So, but yeah, she's a trip, man. She does
Yeah.
love to hunt and fish and things like that. They're definitely opposites, which I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, yeah. Now, your first love is actually turkey hunting, but unfortunately, turkey season typically is during your elite series season. So, do you really get a chance to turkey hunt too much, being that is during your season?
Not a lot, not a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, like you said, we're gone quite a bit during the North Carolina and South Carolina
Yeah.
turkey season. I've got a little lease down here in South Carolina that I'm a part of just for turkey hunting purposes, and then my turkey hunt in North Carolina, which I think I was home for like a week and a half of turkey season this year, maybe 12 or 13 days, and I was fortunate to get my 2 birds here in North Carolina. We're only allowed 2 in North Carolina. And, I didn't get to kill one in South Carolina this past season, but it varies. Sometimes I'll get a week or 2 weeks at home during turkey season, but that's usually about it.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Bassmaster Classic a little bit now. As a Elite Series Pro, the worst thing in Elite Series, or one of the worst things in Elite Series Pro could say is I'll see you at day 3 of at the show, because that means they didn't qualify to make the top 25. Well, the worst thing you could hear an Elite Series Pro say is I'll see you at the show for 3 days in a row, dude. You joining the Elite Series in 2019, 6 straight Bassmaster Classics. Haven't missed one since you joined. This is going to be the first year, dude, that you didn't make the Classic. By your standards, a bad year. How hard is it going to be once the Classic starts, everything gets in Knoxville, that you're not part of it? And does it give you a huge incentive for next year to really kill it and get back?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing about you asked me how it's going to feel working the Classic instead of fishing it. Well, I don't know because I take that back. I did have to work one prior to joining the Bassmaster Elite Series, but I knew it was kind of a different type of feeling there. I was fishing the FLW tour. That wasn't our championship, so I was over there working for sponsors. Now, missing it and having to work, which don't get me wrong, like I'm gonna be thrilled to be there and have a blast hanging out with everybody, but it's gonna suck. Like it's gonna suck not fishing that Classic, and it is frustrating. The good thing about our sport is it's 100% on our shoulders. We can't throw the blame on everybody else, although people like to get on stage sometimes and make every excuse in the book. It's 100% Matt Arey's fault that Matt Arey didn't make the Classic. And I like that about our sport. It does fuel me a little bit more rolling into the 2026 season. Unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, I've been very fortunate. Unfortunately, I've been very fortunate, if that makes any sense, to make all the Classics thus far since joining the Elite Series. So I've been a little bit spoiled. And I think, being humbled, which this is a very humbling sport, is kind of a good thing for an angler. Doesn't matter how long you do it or if you've been doing this 30 years, doesn't matter. I think I've been doing it 18 years now full time. And you need the these kind of moments, and
Yeah.
these kind of moments are what drive you to get better and push harder, and have a more productive 2026 season, and hopefully not miss another classic, knock on wood. But
Yeah.
it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
It's gonna suck.
The rule changes going into 2026, and the big rule change with the Elite Series is the restriction to use forward-facing sonar, to a maximum of 5 out of the 9 events. And if I'm right, the 5 events that's going to be chosen to use forward-facing sonar is going to be based on a coin flip. What's your perspective on that as far as that rule change and the limitation of the forward-facing sonar, basically for 5 out of the 9 events?
Well, okay, I got a couple of different takes, but number one, I wish it would have happened sooner. I don't understand why we the longer we put it off, the worse it became as far as the entire industry and the way it's accepted now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different viewpoints you can look at this from, but the only viewpoint that I need to focus on it from is from a professional angler standpoint. It doesn't, like, if you want to take it out with your buddies and go crappie fishing or fish local derbies with it, or get kids involved in the sport by using it and them enjoying it, I'm all about that. I'm all about that. But when you're talking about a professional sport, don't care what it is. If you want to be recognized as a professional sport, and you're allowing technology to make it easier and easier and easier and easier. Well, I won't sit here saying forward-facing sonar is easy, but it does make the game of catching fish easier. Whether you're great at it or so at it or terrible at it, you still see them. You're still able to chase them. You're still able to. I mean, there were so many stories this past 2 years on the Elite Series that were, it's kind of disappointing to hear. It's like, I lose this fish, I chase him 100 yards, and then we'll finally catch him. Like, I did that at St. Clair this year. I lost one. I knew it was a big one. I chased him down for about 250 yards, got him to bite again, and I caught it. It was a quarter pounder.
Yeah.
Like that shouldn't. I felt bad when I did that. I'm not going to lie. Look, I was excited. I caught a quarter pounder in the middle of an elite tournament, but I kind of felt bad. I'm like, this is not right. This is just not right. So, the limitations are great. It's a start. I think we got to watch closely, because here's the thing, and Norman, you know this as well as anybody, with what we've seen in the past decade with fishing, imagine what we're going to see in the next decade.
Yeah.
So when do we say when? Because we're already redefining how our quote, and I'm going to put it in quotes, sport is played. And I fought my whole career, not arguing with people, but debating with people about whether professional fishing is an actual sport. Well, in a professional sport, it should take a very, very complex skill set to be successful, especially for a long career. And when you start shrinking that skill set, and kind of pigeonholing it, so to speak, it kind of changes the sport, and it doesn't really make it a sport as much anymore. And it makes it easily more accessible to more people, and that's not what a professional sport is. Professional sport is something you should have to work your butt off your entire life to succeed in. And that kind of reshapes it, redefines it, in my opinion.
Yeah, getting back to our roots, the way we grew up fishing, but I'm glad to see this rule coming into play, because it's gonna make it for a fun season to watch, because
100%.
we are going back to more of we all grew up throwing at logs on the bank. We all grew up flipping in grass, and I'm glad to see it all kind of coming to fruition with kind of getting more back to the roots on the tournament level side of it. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Superstitions. Do you have any?
No, I really don't. But I'm not a very superstitious guy.
No, not even if you win an event or wearing the same hat or.
No, not really.
No.
Not really. Yeah, I don't know. I've just never been much of a superstitious person.
Right.
I think it's kind of funny. Usually, when everybody says that, something special happened, right, in a specific moment to make them superstitious about that particular pair of underwear. And You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to believe them.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked a little bit ago about whether the girls are really getting into the hunting and the fishing. Have the girls yet asked you to pick up a paintball gun? And for all of our, and I got to go there before we end this thing, man. For all of our viewers that don't know, before Matt was a professional bass fisherman, he was a world renowned paintball player. So
I don't know about world renowned.
well, you traveled the world playing paintball, man.
Yeah, we traveled all over and played tournaments, and that you talk about fishing becoming a young man's sport. That is a young man's sport, and I played from the time I was about 16 or 17 till I was 22 or 23.
Yeah.
And I was what they call a front man on the field. So I was one of the faster ones at the time, and we played what they call 10-man and 5-man airball tournaments, and we traveled all over and played. We went to LA and Vegas, and went to Philadelphia, Toronto, Chicago, and played in Florida, Orlando. Played in lots of different tournaments, and I played for a team called the Bassmaster team. They were based out of most of our players were from the Carolinas, but
Right.
the sponsor of the team was based out of Michigan. Anyway, we never made any money. Well, everything that we won went back into the team, but it didn't cost us to go do it either. So the sponsors kind of covered the expenses, but at the same time, we didn't get to reap any of the benefits if we won anything. So, but it was cool. Good experience.
Yeah. Do you still get out there and shoot it up every once in a while, or not so much anymore?
No, I've still got a few trophies from back in the day and put up in storage somewhere. But as far as my guns and all my equipment, it's been gone for years, to be honest with you.
Oh, man. Social media platforms, Matt. How can people get on and follow you if they don't already follow you? What social media platforms are you on?
Yeah, it's simple. It's basically Matt Arey Fishing across the board: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the norms. And then we have our Let's Talk Fish podcast, which is Brian Drift and myself. We do it on YouTube Live, and then we kind of archive it there. But then it goes to all the podcast platforms too.
Yeah. All right. That's awesome, Matt. Man. Matt, we appreciate you coming on the mic with us today. I know your off season is probably just as, if not crazier, than during the fishing season. So I appreciate the time coming on with us and sharing a few of your thoughts, man. It's been a blast. And again, look forward to seeing you at the Classic. Unfortunately, it's not going to be where you want to be seen, but we'll talk at the Classic as well, man. But have a great day, dude. And once again, we appreciate you coming on the mic with us and spending a few minutes.
Yeah, man, my pleasure anytime, and yeah, we'll hope to see you soon.
Yes, sir. Talk soon, buddy. Bye now.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for watching this episode of On the Mic with Matt Arey. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Norman Lee Fishing. This has been an NLF production.